Every day in the USA, people find themselves in court.
This is file number 231616LT. It's entitled Mark Hayes versus Isabella Powell. This is a property out on River Run Road. And Miss Powell has been staying there for some weeks and months now without benefit of a lease. Mr. Hayes wants her to move, and this is complicated. Good morning, sir. Are you Mark A. Hayes?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
And Isabella, can you hear me? Give me the thumbs up if you can. All right. Yesterday, there was a hearing in the probate court regarding a commitment for a mental evaluation. Are you aware of that, Isabella?
Yes. Yeah, can you present now not unmute.
Isabella, are you aware that there was a hearing yesterday? All right. Isabella is presently in custody on a domestic violence charge, third offense, with a $5,000 bond. There was a hearing in the probate court yesterday regarding a commitment for a mental health evaluation and treatment. That's called an involuntary commitment order. I wasn't at the hearing. I was advised of it by Lisa Iantelli at the jail and by our magistrate. I know Miss Powell. She was a participant in our sobriety court treatment program, and I released her because she and I have a fundamental disagreement about whether she needs mental health treatment or not. I believe she does, and she believes she does not. So I simply discharged her from the program, wished her well. I knew this was going to be a problem. Mr. Hayes let her come stay with him after she was removed from her mother's house by a personal protection order on Portage Street in Three Rivers. She had nowhere to go. So Mr. Hayes took her in. There's no lease. She pays no rent, and she doesn't wish to move.
She did pay rent, Your Honor.
She did?
Yeah, $300 a month.
Okay. Starting when?
In April, when she moved, I came in on vacation. She was homeless. I had been watching her for 7 months in the program. I reached out to help her out with understanding that she worked on herself, stayed sober, kept her job, and did the right thing. She did that for 90 days, and then after that, she quit. She started doing crazy stuff. I've got photos of the stuff she did.
All right, well, we don't need to get in. I believe she's maintained her sobriety.
I believe she has too.
So she got that. She has not relapsed into alcohol, but she, I believe, is suffering from a mental illness, and she won't acknowledge it or accept it. When did she last pay any rent?
She paid in July. She paid in August, but then she stole it back. Half of it.
When Sergeant Morse went to serve her, she wouldn't come out of the room. And so he posted it, and she's here now. Isabella, the law requires that I adjourn this matter at least 7 days. Mr. Hayes, I have to continue this matter for at least 7 days. Isabella, are you willing to speak to me at all? Apparently no. All right. I knew it was going to come to this. She didn't want to move. She didn't like living there. She doesn't like Mr. Hayes, but she didn't have a plan B. So I knew at some point he was going to try to terminate her tenancy, which he has. So the law requires, whether I like it or anybody else likes it, that there is a second hearing. And that's going to be Friday, December 1st. At 1 p.m. Ms. Powell, this matter is continued until next Friday, December 1st at 1 o'clock. At that point, if nothing changes, I would order that you be out of the property within 10 days of that date, which would be December 11th. Now, late yesterday at about 5 minutes to 5, magistrate contacted me and said that they are requesting, Lisa at the jail, that we amend your bond to a PR bond so you can go for the medical psychological evaluation. And I said, I'm not doing anything until I talk to her. One of the problems with that evaluation, A, as a condition of your bond, you can't leave the state. So it would have to be within the state of Michigan. B, I don't think you're going to cooperate. So you could walk in the front door and walk out the back door. You won't even speak to me this morning. So you've also got a criminal felony charge that's coming up for a pre-exam conference. But this is simply the landlord-tenant case, which will continue until next Friday at 1 o'clock. Mr. Hayes, you wanted to say something else?
I'm a little bit lost because I don't want her, after what happened Monday night with the assault charge, is she going to be able to come back on my property?
Well, there are a couple things. There's a bond condition that says she can't go back there.
Okay.
So even if she gets out of jail, she can't go to your property as a condition of bond. She has possessions there. Now, Autumn from our office had conferred with you months ago and advised you to do this termination of tenancy. You can't just throw her stuff out on the street. All right, so that's the second thing. You can't use a personal protection order to evict somebody, although it happened in the case with her mother. Judge Pattison ruled on that and he made her move out from a personal protection order. But as a rule, you can't use a personal protection order to evict somebody. You did hire Christine Yancey, who was here in the background, but you indicated you didn't want her to represent you in this matter. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, Miss Yancey, you're released from any obligation in this matter, but we have to follow the rules. And Isabella is entitled to one adjournment, whether any of us like it. She's not willing to say anything, but we're going to continue this hearing until next Friday at 1 o'clock. Yes, sir.
Okay. You got to go by the rules. I applied for this eviction notice and I gave her the eviction notice back on 9/11.
Yes.
Okay. I talked with Autumn, which I thought was her PO. That was when I was informed.
She was no longer on probation. She was not on probation at that
That's
point.
when I was informed that she was no longer on probation. Okay. My point is once with the attorney, she was going to file on the 12th and she failed to do so because the 30 days was up on the 11th. Okay, of October. And this court did not even follow its own 5 to 7 days with giving me a hearing within the 5 to 7 days of an eviction notice. And that's in Michigan state law. And now we're extending it even further, Your Honor. That's where I'm really confused and frustrated.
Maybe you should go to law school and get a law degree and be a judge for 22 years. Stop before you're trying to explain to me how landlord-tenant law works.
I don't.
You read something on the internet.
I was asking.
Well, you're incorrect. They follow all the procedural steps. It takes a long time. The Supreme Court has changed the way that landlord-tenant cases work. They take longer. Some of it was COVID and some of it is a brand new rule. So this goes under the category of no good deed goes unpunished. You let her move into your house and she established a tenancy and then you are stuck with it. She doesn't like you and you don't like her, but she wasn't willing to move. So I have to continue this matter until next Friday at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
You had a competent lawyer. She's one of the best landlord-tenant lawyers in the county, but you chose to release her from your obligation because you read something on the internet.
No, I didn't read anything on the internet. It was her action. She
All right,
never
well,
notified or
we're going to deal with this matter next Friday. And at that point, the law requires that I give her 10 days to move. Now, there are a couple of issues. One, she's in jail on a felony charge with a $5,000 cash or surety bond and a condition that she not go back to your property. So she isn't going to be there anyway. The probate court has ordered that she get an involuntary mental health evaluation, which she doesn't want to do. And she can't do that unless I amend her bond. And at this point, I'm not inclined to do that. Isabella, is there anything you wish to say? All right, this matter is continued until next Friday at 1 o'clock. At that time, I will order that she has 10 days to move or she's subject to being evicted. Then on or after December 11th, you can take all her possessions out of her room and give them to somebody. Maybe her mother will pick them up. I don't know. Anyway, Isabel and I, as I said, have a fundamental disagreement and we're still at that position. I think she needs mental health treatment. She does not. Judge Tomlinson ordered that she get some, and I don't think she wants to do that. All right, next Friday at 1 o'clock, just like this.
May I say something?
Yes, sir.
The only thing, you know, from my experience, she's a good person. She's been clean and sober. I know that. Okay. Like most people, you can, the first year is free in recovery, being off the substance. And now she's at the point where she needs to do what she needs to do to get her help mentally. I've been there, I've done that. I tried to talk to her about that. She's against it. And that's, I mean, I went through, I've been looking for stuff that's been taken out of my property. And I found her medicine. And it's a sad case that she's not even willing to help herself when she's got the medicine to do so.
Well, you and I are on the same page.
That was my whole purpose of letting her in, to get her help.
Well, I'm proud of how she's done with her recovery. She hasn't relapsed.
That, to my, I mean, there's beer. I have beer and alcohol in my house for my family and visitors. And she's done a very good job with that.
This
now
isn't
now it's time to go get some help.
Yes.
Get real. And
all
work
right.
the steps.
You and I are on the same page. I'll see you next Friday.
Okay, sir.
Isabella, I'll see you next Friday also. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Okay. Yes, thanks. All right, we're on the record. We might as well get to it. This is December 1st. It's our landlord-tenant docket. And we have the second hearing in the matter of Mark A. Hayes versus Isabel Powell. The file number is 231616. Mr. Hayes is present with me here at the courthouse. Also, we have another visitor present. And Isabella is at the jail, connected by the Zoom system. Mr. Hayes, you still wish to terminate this tenancy and have your premises back?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Isabella, last week you didn't have anything to say. Do you have anything you wish to say to me today? Apparently no.
Not to be planned, you have to speak on feature. If you create.
Isabel, I did speak to your attorney this morning. She indicated she has met with you and we'll deal with that other case on Tuesday. But as far as this matter is concerned, I'm granting Mr. Hayes's request for eviction. And I have to give 10 days. Now, as a practical matter, she's presently in jail, but she's going to have 10 days to get her possessions out of there. The appeal date is also 10 days from today, which is December 11th. I'm not ordering any money judgment, just possession judgment. If after December 11th, her property hasn't been removed, you can remove it. Lisa, would you prepare a judgment for me in that case? Ms. Powell, anything else you want to tell me at this time? All right, I will see you on Tuesday morning and we'll deal with the other matters. But this tenancy with Mr. Hayes at River Run Road has come to an end. You have 10 days to vacate if you do get out of jail. I think there's, well, for example, if your case was dismissed today, she would have the right to come back. But it hasn't been dismissed, and there's also a bond condition of no contact. I don't know what's going to happen on Tuesday, but regarding the landlord-tenant case, she has until December 11th to vacate. All right, Isabella, I will see you on Tuesday. Mr. Hayes, I want you to stay for a minute. I want to give you a copy of the order. Mrs. Powell, or Kimberly, I don't know what your current status is with Isabella. I talked to her lawyer today. She told me that she has met with her. She'll speak with her. They've had a good rapport. So that's promising. The order from the probate court that she be evaluated by a psychologist or psychiatrist has expired. That may have to be renewed. But at this point, she's still in custody pending the examination, pre-exam that's set for Tuesday. Have you spoken to the prosecutors all about that, Mr. Hayes?
No, not yet. I received a letter stating that I have to fill out a form. I've got it at the house.
Well, if I were you, as long as you're here, it's hard for you to get around. I'd stop down at the prosecutor's office and ask to speak to their victim advocate.
Am I gonna need to be here on the?
You don't need to be here on Tuesday. You may need to be here on the following Tuesday if they actually. Yes.
Yes.
But as long as you're here, why don't you introduce yourself, tell them what you want them to know, and before you leave, I want to give you a copy of this order.